Want to treat your friends to a VIP tour and tasting with the head brewer at places like Side Project, Noda, or Avery Brewing? How about serving as a brewer for a day at Comrade in Denver or Raleigh in Santa Fe? You can bid on these experiences, amazing collectibles, rare beer, and more in the Beer Lovers online auction to benefit Pints for Prostates. Go to bit.ly DRBT 16 auction to get your bids in by October 9th. That's bit.ly /DRBT 16 auction.
Welcome to Drink Beer, Think Beer, the podcast that gets to the bottom of every pint. I'm John Holl. It's just about that time of year again when the beer faithful travel to Denver for the Great American Beer Festival. Truth be told, there's so much to do in the Mile High City that even if you don't go to the convention center for 1-ounce pours or the spirits and seltzer samples that have been added to the mix this year, there's an endless beer fun to be had. And a trio of local experts join me in a moment to break down where you should go to eat, drink, and be merry. If you like this show, and judging by all the folks who listen, you probably do. I hope you'll consider leaving a review on your podcast platform of choice. It helps other people find the show, and hey, it's also a little boost for my ego personally. I've been talking about this on the show for a while now, and you hear Andy crouch at the cold open of the shows most weeks. But the way we're able to keep bringing original content to the beer industry and curious beer drinkers is through your support. We've created an affordable underwriting program that is easy on your budget, helps get you visibility, and is an altruistic way to directly fund writers, photographers, and editors. Please visit allaboutbeer.com/support to learn more. And after you're done with that, stick around on the website, poke around a bit, and read some of the recent articles, peruse the archives, which go all the way back to 1979, and tune into other podcasts like Brewer to Brewer and the All About Beer podcast. You won't be disappointed. You can also follow us on social media at All About Beer and keep up with everything else we have going on through those channels. We're going to get into the conversation in a moment, but first, here's a note from this episode's sponsors. We thank them for their support, and we hope you'll give them your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Stomp Stickers. Stomp is built for the business community, serving everyone from small independents to larger franchises. Whether you need low minimums for a limited batch or bulk pricing for your go-to products, they've got you covered. Join thousands of breweries that trust Stomp for their custom printing needs. Go to stompstickers.com and try them out and score 15% off of your first order with the code FIRSTRUN.
Shed 60-Minute IPA is a fantastically hoppy India Pale Ale that's beautifully balanced thanks to their unique continual hopping method. Delivering a pungent hop flavor that isn't crushingly bitter, 60-Minute is continually hopped throughout the boil for a full 60 minutes. Starting to see where the name comes from? Check out dogfish.com to learn more and to find some 60-Minute near you. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
The Great American Beer Festival happens in Denver, Colorado on October 9, 10, and 11. It's a great chance to visit the vibrant beer city. Admittedly, even though I haven't missed a GABF in at least the last decade and a half, my beer habits have become limited in recent years with just stops at Bierstadt. I'm determined to branch out this year. To get into that spirit, I'm joined by a trio of locals who know all the best stops. I'm thrilled to be joined by Jonathan Shikes of the Denver Post, Tristan Chan of Porch Drinking, and Dustin Craft of Malteurop. All of them know the city, the state, and the best places for beers and memorable meals. Get your notebook ready. Here's our conversation. Yeah, but Jonathan, let's start with you of where you sit these days, and for as long as you've been covering this industry, what's the scene like beer-wise in Denver as we head into GABF 2025?
Yeah, the scene in Denver right now is decidedly mixed, as I think it probably is across the country. On one level, it is really depressing in that breweries are fighting to survive, not surviving, closing up, and going away. Some of the old legacy breweries going away. And so, that's been kind of a sad thing to watch. On the other hand, there's a lot of people in brewing who are just as excited as they've always been. They hate talking about that side of it because they feel like they're making great beer, that the beer that's being made is as good as it's ever been. So, yeah, I feel like it's there's kind of two different mindsets right now.
Tristan, does that square with what you're seeing?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Jonathan nailed it. I've been doing a lot of introspective thinking and during these kind of turbulent times. And the thing that I kind of hearken it back to is listening to one of your favorite albums and how over time it doesn't always sound exactly the same, but you revisit it many years later and there's some elements that touch on the nostalgia and others that feel kind of different and out of place. But yeah, I think craft beer is definitely looking a lot different these days, but I still find kind of new and exciting elements to it every single time I go visit a brewery or try something interesting at a restaurant. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's definitely weird for a lot of folks,
Yeah.
but overall, I still have the same passion for it.
Dustin, you're in a lot of breweries. You're talking to folks about ingredients. You're talking to folks about who, what they have coming up and what's going on. Um, did what Jonathan said square with you and sort of, you're having conversations with folks on a different level. But how are you feeling is the overall mood?
Yeah, definitely agree with both Jonathan and Tristan. It's a challenging time for the industry. I feel like that being said, I think more and more brewers that I talk to and more breweries are getting a little bit of a sense of stability. The last year or two has kind of been like I don't know if we're going to make it or not. And much more of what I hear now is we're going to make it. It's going to be different. We're still not sure exactly what the future holds, but we're more comfortable in where we're sitting. And we've seen a lot of breweries close or change. And I think some of that's the industry just maturing, some of it's beer being down. It's a combination of things and just coming out of COVID. And there are some people to mention, some of the old guard, like Jonathan said, that have gone away or merged or don't exist in the same capacity they used to.
Hmm.
Some of that is people that have been doing this 10, 15, 20 years and they look at another 5 or 10 year lease and it's, do I want to keep doing this? Some, see the challenging road ahead and maybe aren't as excited. But I think to Tristan's point, a lot of people still are really excited and the change in the industry is tough, but is something that, brings opportunity as well. Craft beer is all about change and doing things differently and better, and this is a new version of that.
You
So
know,
even
yeah.
like even though maybe flat is the new up and being down a little bit is the new flat, um, it's not as bad as it was a year or two ago in a lot of cases. So I think people are finding the way forward and maybe chasing trends a little bit less and doing a little more of what they're good at and what their markets uh, want, which I think puts the industry in a slightly different place. And I have a lot of excitement about, so it's fun to see.
So let's unpack some of that a little bit because, Jonathan, when you were talking about things being mixed early on, right? I found that just a little unsettling because while it's true that is happening around the country right now, for the longest time, at least as long as I've been covering beer, so 20 plus years now, right? Denver, and especially around GABF, was always the inspiration time. Like not the convention center, not what was happening on the floor, but going to Denver proper and seeing a city and a state, but a city that was so immersed in beer culture and different flavors and ingenuity and experimentation and passion that for me at least it was restorative, being like, okay, cool shit's happening, and people are pushing envelopes and working on service, and my God, there's an entire brewery that is just cask ale. And then going back to Jersey, and it's like, yeah, we have a Mr. Beer kit, and here's our, like, it was always, Denver was always kind of one of those bright spots and those guiding lights for the overall industry. So to hear that it's mixed, kind of, threw a dagger towards my heart. But it's to what Dustin was saying, like, is that a good thing? Like, is this uncertainty healthy for the city? And are you seeing, I don't know, the beginnings of positives?
Yeah,
Is that fair? Is that, I know that was rambling, but
no, I think I understand what you're saying. I mean, a little bit of Denver's beer culture, a little bit of the heart of it has been torn out over the last couple of years, and that's the closing of some beer bars, the closing of some breweries.
I mean, Falling Rock obviously comes to mind, but like, what else? Like, qualify this just for those who are listening. Like, what are the places that were the heart that's been torn out?
Well, I mean, Great Divide was purchased and closed both of its tap rooms.
Oh, no shit. I don't know if I knew that. I knew it was sold. I didn't know it closed the tap rooms.
Yep. So they closed their tap rooms, and the company that owns them now owns a few breweries.
It's like a weird hospitality group. Not that they're, I don't know the name of it. That's why I'm saying it's weird. I don't know if they're actually weird people.
No, so that's another weird part of it is that Great Divide is now owned by a beverage company called Wilding Brands. They also own Denver Beer Company, Station 26. They own Stem Ciders, and they're based in a town north of Denver. They teamed up with a company that Great Divide used to team up with, and Great Divide lent their brand and sold their beers to this restaurant company. And they've now opened what they're calling a tap room in Rhino. It's but it's a restaurant run by a different restaurant group that takes that name, that licenses the name, and has the beers in it. So Great Divide was one of the old guard, and it's depending on your perspective and how you view breweries, and whether and them doing their own brewing and that kind of thing. It's that part was sad, but there's some other breweries that have been that have been a little bit of the beating heart of Denver, and two of those would be True Brewing, which is now closed, and
Yeah.
Call to Arms Brewing, which is going to close at the end of the year. Those are gone, or will be gone. Even
I didn't
Blue
realize Call to Arms was closing as well.
Yeah, I think the owner there, Chris, is maybe just tired. It's a lot of work to run a small brewery, and especially in this environment. I haven't spoken to him since he made the announcement, but that's a little bit, that's another one of like a small heartbreaking kind of news.
So, I mean, Tristan, you just came off mute, so I imagine you have something you want to jump in on this with. But sort of to that point as well, of just what I was getting at, of just Denver long being this heartbeat, long being this guiding light. And then kind of going back to what Dustin was saying before, like, are you seeing bright spots? Are you seeing people make the hard but tough decisions? Are you still seeing the ingenuity that Denver is known for? Because I feel like when people come, especially from outside of town, they want to be inspired by Denver because it's been doing so much good by beer for so long.
Absolutely. I mean, there are definitely still some, bright young breweries that are starting to emerge, especially in the past few years. Last year alone, we saw three really, really strong breweries open up in milieu fermentation. They're kind of up near the airport area. They're doing a lot of hazy IPAs, but also some spontaneous fermentation stuff, barrel aged saisons. Similarly, Wanderment Brewing up kind of in the northwest of Denver. They're doing some really, really great mixed fermentation stuff, but also have released some killer lagers and IPAs as well. And then the former brewer of Jagged Mountain and the former brewer of our mutual friend, they teamed up and opened up a brewery downtown in the former Jagged Mountain space called Full Frame Beer. And they're doing a variety of different styles, doing some great collaborations, showcasing some lower ABV options and also some innovative kind of beery cocktail type concoctions as well. So, those are some definitely strong kind of newcomers to the class. And then you also have Amalgam beer, which is they've been around for a couple of years now, started as a member only program. But pound for pound are still doing some of the best IPAs, West Coast IPAs and lagers in the game. They currently brew out of Bierstadt Lager House and still offer
Hang
their
on a
membership.
second. Wait a minute. Hang on. I just want to. I want to make sure that I heard this correctly. That IPAs are being brewed at Bierstadt Lager House.
Yeah, it's true. They have a dedicated kind of tank just for all amalgam beers. And so they've kind of been able to adapt some of the techniques that are used for lagering and kind of play around with utilizing those techniques to make even better IPAs, which is pretty incredible.
Okay. I mean, nothing bad comes out of Bierstadt.
It's true.
In my mind. And it's interesting that you brought up full frame because I just saw a post from Alyssa the other day, who was talking just about how hard business has been since they opened. And I had them on the show earlier this year,
Sure.
right before they were getting ready to open, to kind of just talk about what's it like to open a brewery in 2025 and, with all of the uncertainty. And there was like, we don't know. And then we're optimistic. And then there's a post last week on social media of just, this has been really hard and,
Yeah.
really, really tough. And, so I'm excited to go and, spend a lot of money at their brewery in a couple of weeks. Cause I'm committed this time around to break the gravitational pull that is Bierstadt. So for the last 4 years of GABF that I've been out there, Bierstadt is the only brewery I've been to because I go there
You
first.
definitely need to fix that.
I know, but I go there first and it's like, well, I'll just have a couple and then then we'll go over to Cohesion or then we'll go to, I've never been to Cohesion. Like I have not stepped foot through their door since they've been open because somebody comes walking in. I think it was you, Jonathan, the last time. And we just sat at a table and, or like 3 times ago. And it's impossible to leave. So, Tristan just named a bunch. Dustin, outside of Bierstadt, where should people be going when they're coming into town?
So I was going to bring up a couple of the ones that Tristan brought up for kind of a similar reason. One, because I think they're making really good beer, but also because I think it's one of those where I think when you look at the pure numbers, sometimes it doesn't tell the full story. And I think it's one of the reasons that I have a little optimism. So like you look at those breweries, Milieu, which I'm a big fan of, you should absolutely go to because Rob's making phenomenal beer in a little spot north of the hospital in Aurora. But really cool tap room. That's the former Ursula Brewing. So Ursula closed.
Ursula close to my God. This
Yeah.
is
But Ursula closed. Rob was the head brewer there. He took it over, and now it's his brewery doing his vision and the beers he wants to make. So it counts as a brewery that closed and a brewery that opened, but really it's a transition from ownership to, the person that was doing the production being the owner,
that makes sense.
along with his partner. And I think that's, I think that is where the numbers kind of betray us a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Full Frame is the same way. Jagged Mountain closed, and Alyssa, who was the head brewer at Jagged Mountain, along with Jacob, as Tristan mentioned from our mutual friend, opened Full Frame in the same location. So Jagged Mountain, in a sense, became Full Frame, but it's the the ownership shifting to the person who is doing the production, who's super passionate about it. So yeah, that's a closing and an opening, but really it's a transition into where the direct influence is coming from. So I think that's a story that doesn't get understood enough.
Okay.
All three of those breweries are great. Full Frame's also doing coffee, which kind of started in the Jagged Mountain era, and a lot of community events and markets, and they're really reaching out and doing a lot more and trying to be that neighborhood hub, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Uh, to answer your actual question,
Okay. Yeah. That's, you know,
if you're coming out from the airport or headed back to the airport on your way to GABF, Danico Brewing is doing some fun stuff. Great spot to hang out. Closest brewery to the airport. Um, right
because the
in the
one at the
woods.
airport closed, right?
There is still a tap room there, and I believe it's New Belgium. Um, I
Yeah.
think they still have a tap room there. Great
Wasn't
to
like Tivoli like right across
Yep.
from, yeah,
Tivoli had one right there, an
Tivoli. So
actual little
yeah.
brewery there.
And now
Um,
that's in New Belgium.
I no, New Belgium's in one of the terminals.
Oh yeah, the United Terminal. Yeah.
And there was a Great Divide Barrel Bar in there. I'm not sure if that's still open.
That was
Uh,
the one right before security. Yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
Great Divide's still open.
Okay.
Okay. Um, yeah, but Danico's cool. I'm a big friends of mine. But if you're out in Aurora, I'm a big fan of Launchpad. They have 32 beers on tap and do all sorts of cool stuff. It's really one of those like there's something for everyone beers there. They make one of my favorite Vienna lagers in the state that happens to be on right now.
Oh,
But they do crazy fruited stuff and barrel aged beers, and they've got a bunch of GABF medals, and I feel like they're one of the breweries that gets slept on. And go there, meet up with some friends, hang out, lots of really cool stuff. But from there, you're not too far from Milieu, which does amazing hazies, uh, and really delicate, cool, low ABV stuff. They have a beer called Small, SMOL, that's super fun at 2.8%. Uh,
no, come on.
yeah, it's really good too. And just great place to hang out, great people. Bent Barley has two locations now. If you're a dry Irish stout person, you should go in and drink that beer along with some of their others. Um, but there's lots of other places I'm excited about. I love Liquid Mechanics. I feel like they get slept on. Some fantastic IPAs and just really solid beers all around. But not always in the names that everybody brings up. They do a fantastic job. Um, River North, we all love for
Sure.
barrel aged stouts, but again, everything they put out is really solid. Um, there's lots of ones I like. I know Bierstadt, Cohesion, both fantastic breweries, both places I hang out. I may actually be at both of them later today. But in that
Drinking IPA. Yeah.
like trinity of I'm gonna hang out and crush some low ABV beers with my friends for entirely too long, I would throw in Hogshead. Um,
Yeah.
one of my favorite spots in town, especially if you pull the Hogshead uh, blue pan pizza combo. The traditional cast
Tell,
beer
tell, tell me
Detroit style
more.
pizza.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
classic pairing. But one of my favorites, I've done that 3 years for my birthday. Just to give you an idea that I'm into that. Um, I love Cellar West. They're super great. Lots of really interesting beers there. Some really cool collabs from saisons and farmhouse beers to really good hoppy stuff. New Terrain is awesome. I could list 30 breweries I
I
love.
was gonna say,
I'll let the
I
other
feel like
guys
you
go and
are.
I'll stop for a minute. But
Yeah. Um, Jonathan, food's come up a couple of times now, and I mean that's always, again, I get stuck in the Bierstadt gravitational pull, so I'm just going to eat whatever they have there. But I'm told there's restaurants in town, and I'm told that people go out to said restaurants. Right before we started, I think, or maybe it was when we were in this. You mentioned Michelin has come to Colorado. Um, what's exciting for you food wise these days? That, if people are listening to this the week before GABF, and I hope they are, or even if on the plane on the way there, um, reservations they should try to make, places they should try to get to?
Yeah, there's a lot of places now. The first one I'm going to start off with is actually a beer bar called Out of the Barrel Tap House, and they've got great beers. But they have a food person in there, Little Arthur's Hoagies, and they make some absolutely insane sandwiches and probably some of the best pizza in Denver. It's a great spot. Out of the Barrel Tap House and Little Arthur's. But
Listen, I let it slide with Dustin. I'm just gonna say, because I give Philly a ration of shit every time they come on the show. We need, like, really good pizza for Colorado is just not what we would expect out here in Jersey. So I just want to throw that out there, that, like, temper your expectations. Because I don't want somebody to be like, wow, you shit on Philly but not Denver when it came to their pizza scene. So
John,
anyway, yes.
I lived in Jersey for 20 years.
I know. Yeah.
So if I say pizza is good,
Yeah, but Detroit style pizza is a little bit different. So,
it is.
like,
There,
it's,
I
yeah.
will say, when I moved back to Colorado in 2015, um, the pizza scene was challenged, what we say. Um, Denver has really brought its game up.
Okay.
There are several spots that are legit. And Little Arthur's, yeah, I mean, they do hoagies and cheesesteaks, and yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I just want to be fair that I'm being a dick to everybody outside of this area when they mention pizza.
yeah.
So anyway, Jonathan, keep going, please. I'm sorry for my asshole-ish interruption.
all good. It might not help that the owner of Little Arthur's Hoagies is from Philadelphia, so that might not.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. That doesn't help. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but some other great places in town. And some of these places, Colorado we got the Michelin Guide came into Colorado 2 years ago, and they just released their third edition here. And there's some places with Michelin stars. Those are a lot of them pretty expensive and difficult to get into, but they have a lot of Michelin also recommends places to go to, and there's some terrific spots in town. Brasserie Brixton is a restaurant that's awesome. They're very close to another tap room called Ephemeral Tap Room, which will have some GABF events going on. But they're a great place. If you're looking for just a sandwich, Black Belly Market on Tennyson Street, which has its share of breweries as well, makes some great stuff. Mezcaleria Alma is next to Alma Fondafina, which is a Michelin star restaurant owned by the same folks. And then La Diabla, Pozole Mezcal, a taco spot. It's hard to walk in there without getting feeling a little bit of adrenaline on a weekend night. It is a great taco spot. It is not expensive. He does the chef there and the owner has been recognized by James Beard. He's on that Michelin recommended list, and the things that they do there, the kind of traditional Mexican style food that he has brought in, and into a really lively environment is just terrific. So those are some of my favorite. Oh, and I can't not mention MacFam, which is on Broadway. Which would have made a good combo with stopping by True or Bandit Oak Brewing because they're nearby, but they're both closed. But MacFam is a terrific kind of American Chinese food restaurant that is really delicious.
I love that. Tristan, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, there's actually a new one that just recently opened up called Rougarou, and it's from two of the founders of Yacht Club, which has become one of the most kind of talked about cocktail bars in the world. They continue to get on top 50 best bars lists and tales of the cocktail accolades. But they just recently opened up a kind of southern inspired restaurant in the former Dunbar Kitchen spot, which is really close to downtown. And they serve one of the best fried catfish dishes that I've ever had.
Ooh.
Their grits are absolutely incredible, and obviously because of their background in cocktail making, the cocktail list is definitely not to be missed either. A couple kind of higher end options for those who might feel a little bougie, or maybe they just want to won a GABF award and want to celebrate. Hop Alley is an absolute favorite of mine, for modern takes on classic Chinese dishes, but also their chef's counter is one of the best meals that I've ever had. It's a six seat counter, and you have two dedicated chefs that are preparing dishes for you right in front of you. And the menu changes daily for that. And then Kawani, kind of on the Asian elevated Asian train, is another one that I think is a can't miss if you can get a reservation. They are kind of a Japanese izakaya style spot that serves amazing small plates. They do a couple, ramen and noodle bowls, but really the star of the show are their small plate dishes. And yeah, you can't miss with any of those spots.
I love that.
And on the note of pizza, I will say, uh,
Yeah.
I do want to shamelessly plug because I do represent them from a PR standpoint. But Westbound and Down, if you have the opportunity to make it up to their Lafayette flagship location, their chef up there is making some of the best pizza in the area, in the Front Range. And also, keeping on the beer train, Hops and Pie is obviously I can't miss as well.
Okay. I'll I trust you. Um, I'm gonna send Dustin out first, and then he'll go, yeah, hops and pie, yeah, for sure, and I like the Westbound and Down beers. You actually kind of dovetail into something that I wanted to get into. I feel like again years ago, and I'm dating all of us here now, but there used to be oh, you're going into town, you have to go make the pilgrimage to Fort Collins to go visit Odell's and visit New Belgium, or you have to go out to Golden and see Coors, or there was always these excursions that I think beer fans had when they were coming into Denver, where they would leave the confines of the city and go to, another city, or another area for really good beer, or, a brewery that excited them. We can take New Belgium out of it for a minute, even though I know they're still producing cool barrel stuff, but the House of Voodoo, maybe doesn't have the same appeal for folks, or maybe it does based on sales. But let's just take New Belgium out of it for a minute. When it comes to getting outside of the city and having a beer destination in mind, what would you put at the top of your list these days, Dustin?
Um, I think it depends on what you like. Again, there's so many places for folks to specialize and so much opportunity for people to do stuff they're excited about. Um, I think it really depends on what you like. And what I would suggest to people is, you know, pick an area and pick a brewery you're excited about, whether it's, something we've mentioned or something somewhere that sounds cool, and just see what's in the area. Um, like for you, John, I would say, go up to Fritz Family Brewers in Niwot for some like amazing lager and route beer.
Okay.
But while you're there, pull up Google Maps, zoom out, look at what else is around for breweries and distilleries if you're into that. Because like from Fritz, you can go down the street, go to Avery, see one of the Colorado OGs that's still doing really cool stuff,
Yeah.
and really fun things in their tap room that you're not going to see anywhere else. But you've also got Main Stage, um, who just took over the Gun Barrel location there of Beyond the Mountain, that makes really cool beers with their own take on them. But from there, you can also go to Bearded Brewer. You can go to Gross and Bart that does great stuff. You can go to Left Hand for another OG. You can go to
Oh
Bootstrap that
yeah.
makes fantastic beer. You've got Wibby for, more amazing lager. Like all of those breweries are within 20 minutes of Fritz. 15 minutes of Fritz. So
Okay.
the what you talked to before about like the excitement of Denver, I think it used to be in Colorado in general. I think it used to be that we did things that no one else was doing. And a lot of that has spread to other places. I think the density and the diversity of perspectives is the exciting part now. So just pick somewhere and go out and you can hit lots of really cool spots. You know, I think there's a lot of that. So pick somewhere you're excited about. You know, go to if you do like the southwest corner of town or southeast corner, sorry, southwest corner of town, you can go see like the new Longmont Brewing. That's awesome. Really cool spot. Actually,
Then I missed the name of that one.
uh, Longmont, right? No, sorry, not Longmont. Littleton Brewing.
Okay.
One of the newer spots in town. Really solid beer, nice people, really beautiful space. But there's a bunch of great spots around there. A bunch of good breweries. You've got Locavore, Zymos, aren't too far. There's a bunch of others. There's a place called the Greyhound that has amazing cocktails. There's really good food. Like we have a lot of cool neighborhoods that are, you know, not too far that you can go check out something cool and hit lots of good spots around there.
Okay.
I will also echo the food that everybody listed was great. Um, I would mention go to Bull and Bush.
Oh
Get
gosh, yeah.
get you know yourself some classic pub food. I'm a big fan of the State Fair sandwich, originally being from Iowa, the pork tenderloin that's bigger than your plate, with the Colorado mashed potatoes, which is mashed potatoes with green chili.
Oh,
In one
green
of their
chili.
beers, like that's a Denver experience. You know, start at one of the oldest breweries, and then drive down the road and go to Comrade and have one of the best IPAs in the state. So
See, again, two breweries that I've never been to, Bull and Bush and Comrade, and had plenty of their beer, but never been. Um, John, if people are feeling that roaming spirit to get out of Denver, where do you suggest they go?
Yeah, and uh, this might be a year to to do that because of what's going on in the city. I mean, there's plenty of places to support in the city, but yeah, this might be a good year to get out. I mean, I'm gonna steal an area that's already been talked about a little bit, and it's a town called Lafayette, and it's in Boulder County. It's not that far, but westbound and down, and this is so Tristan doesn't have to plug him again. I mean, this is a true, just
He
a
gets a check
fantastic.
every time he plugs it. You're taking money out of the guy's mouth. It is
I get a
just
bigger check when he plugs it.
uh,
as heard about in the Denver Post. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, westbound is a fantastic place, but so is Cellar West and Liquid Mechanics, which
Oh yeah.
Dustin was talking about. These are three just terrific places, and they're fairly close to one another up there in Lafayette. So that would be a place I would go. Golden is also it's the home of Coors, but it's just such a fun town. There's a great wings place there, King of Wings. That's got good beer selection. There's a great burrito place, Bonfire Burritos, but they've got Cannonball Creek, and they've got Barrels and Bottles. They do a big lager event each year during GABF week. They've got Mountain Toad. They've got New Terrain. It's just a fun town to roam around in and to eat and to drink, regardless of Coors being there. So
Okay.
those would be two places I would put out there.
Tristan, where are you sending people?
I was wondering when someone was going to say Cannonball Creek. That's my go-to in terms of getting outside of the city. They not only are making incredible beer, but they are one of the winningest GABF and World Beer Cup breweries in the state and in the country in the past decade. So I don't know, Shikes, is their streak still alive? I'm pretty sure at least one of their streaks is still alive
it
Yeah, I'm
is.
pretty sure they've won. I think they have continued to win every year, at least one medal.
at
Uh,
GABF.
I
yeah.
believe they're going on 11.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
that I
So
believe they have the longest currently active streak.
yeah. They have won, I believe, a medal every single year since they've opened at GABF, which is truly astounding. And
Firestone doesn't beat that?
No, I think that their streak ended at one point, maybe just by a year. But yeah,
Okay. Wow.
they're their accolades are astounding. And it's rightfully so because they produce some really incredible West Coast IPAs. Um, their lager program is tremendous as well. They do a diversity of styles, so it's not just limited to those. But yeah, Cannonball is tops for me when it comes to venturing right outside of downtown.
I love
Um,
it.
and then, Purpose Brewing up in Fort Collins is a great one. Peter Buchart, who started the sour program at New Belgium, helped to found Purpose Brewing. And I still really love anything that I get to try from them whenever I make it up north to Fort Collins. And then Verboten Brewing,
Oh
speaking of
yeah.
up north, and also GABF medal winners. They do some really killer high ABV stuff. Their barrel aged barley wine continues to win medals at GABF, World Beer Cup, FOBAB. They now have a location in Fort Collins as well as their hometown of Loveland. So
That's
Verboten
cool.
Brewing. Yep.
All right. All right. I have two quick questions then. Because we've been dancing around, GABF itself. Um, what is your, so when you go into the Great Hall, when you go into the Colorado Convention Center, for GABF, what is one tradition you have that you think others might benefit from experiencing? Shakes.
I actually haven't gone into the hall much in the last few years. Uh, I do my
Are
GABF.
you you're at Bierstadt with me? Yeah.
Yeah, or other places. I like hitting some of the smaller places that have tap takeovers and things like that. I always love the bagpipers on Thursday, and I would always go for that. And then since I'm old, I am old as the wind and the sea and the sun and the stars. I look for where I can sit down because we have never had chairs for so many years. There's nowhere to sit down.
I wrote about that a couple years ago, and I feel like they added a couple afterwards. I don't know if I was the cause and effect, but yeah.
Yeah, I look for chairs, so that's what I do.
Okay.
That's not very exciting though.
Um, Tristan, what's the tradition? What's the something somebody should do when they go?
Yeah, I think, I'm entering this with I've been putting a lot of thought into this, and I talked about nostalgia. This is most likely or potentially going to be my final GABF as a media member. And so, it has a lot of meaning for me. We're doing one final blowout of coverage before we kind of call it quits at Porch Drinking and hand it off to a new ownership group. And so GABF has always been a special part of, my beer journey. It was I had started Porch Drinking in 2015, or sorry, 2012, I think. And that very year that I started the publication, we were approved for a credential, which I did not think was going to happen. I honestly applied on a whim, thinking, this could be a great goal to strive for one day. But the great folks at the Brewers Association apparently either were desperate and needed more media members or took a chance on us. And so ever since we've been trying to do as much coverage for the event as possible. And so, for me, this is a very special event. I think folks should try to get in early and check out the bagpipes. I think the pomp and circumstance of that is always very energizing and impressive. And then, I always shameless plug for Porch Drinking. We're going to be putting together our guided routes again, and I always like to pick a couple styles that I think that I gravitate towards and really try to hit some of the heavy hitters early on. If you're IPA folks, the Three Floyds, Pure Project. You're going to have some of the folks that are always going to garner massive lines. You want to get in there early. Same for barrel aged beers, and then I always mark some moments on my. I always swing by some of the booths that I know are going to do timed releases, like Firestone Walker, WeldWorks. Speaking of WeldWorks, always stopping by early to make sure I try whatever weird culinary inspired beer that they're going to put out. I think last year it was like a cream cheese Rangoon sour, and trying to get in there while I can before that goes, and then just kind of exploring and checking out some of the exciting new breweries that are doing some really killer stuff. I like to comb through the list and cross-reference it on Untapped and check out breweries who are bringing some weird barrel-aged stuff that I've never heard of. And that's usually kind of how I decipher, who are some of the up-and-coming risers that I think could have a lot of potential. Sometimes they're not always going to be winners, but usually the ones who are swinging big and bringing some really killer stuff, really killer styles are going to be ones that end up being the next big hit brewery down the line.
I dig that. Dustin, quickly, what's the tradition? What's the something that somebody should do when at
Um,
GABF?
you're not going to limit me to one, but I'll make it quick. Um, Definitely check out the bagpipers, but whatever group I go with, we always pick three things. So everyone picks a style, and the rest of the group has to look out for beers of that style. For me, it's usually something like English mild or Grudziska that you don't see too often and is going to help
Right.
me prolong my night. The best beer name. So just the craziest, funniest, the name that strikes you the most to try that beer, and then just a brewery you've never heard of. Try to find a brewery that I'm like, that sounds cool, never heard of them before, and I do that. Um, so we have the whole group kind of do that, and it gives us a fun thing to kind of track throughout the night, just to keep some of our favorites in check. And then usually afterwards, we end up at somewhere like Union Lodge number one for a cocktail or Finn's Manor if it's more beers, and kind of do the after party, keep it going, make potentially bad decisions one night. So
Love that.
yeah.
All right. In the very, very few minutes that we have left here, I want to ask each of you the green door question, which the premise is on the show, on the television show, The Good Place. In the final season, they introduced the concept of the green door, where the characters can walk through it and be wherever they want, doing whatever they want. So, if we had a green door on our plane of existence and this conversation ended, and you could walk through it and be at any pub or any brewery anywhere in the world, where would you want to go? Who would you want to be with? And what would you like to be drinking? Dustin.
Put me on the spot. Wow.
You knew this was coming.
I did. I'm okay with that. Um, just the way I'm feeling today, I'm gonna say traditional British pub with you guys and a couple other industry friends, just having a couple pints with nothing to do this afternoon and just kind of roll through it and keep the conversation going.
Royal Oak it is. I love it. Tristan. Tristan's on mute. Shikes.
Boy, oh boy. Can I meet up with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet up with them and my wife, and we're gonna go to Dustin brought it up before. I'm gonna go to the Bull and Bush actually, right here in my own hometown with that couple. That would be fun.
I love it. Tristan.
Yeah, I think I'd probably head to one of my all-time favorite breweries that kind of was really pivotal in our beer geekdom early on, and I would say Sante Adarius.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd probably bring the guy who inspired me to start porch drinking, and obviously my wife, and all of our family and go out there and enjoy some sours.
Love it. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing all three of you in just about 2 weeks' time, and clinking pints. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this publicly, but Tristan, thank you for everything you did with Porch Drinking. You made us all better in the media space, through competition, through the work that you guys were doing. And I'm sorry you're not going to be helming it anymore. And
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
It's a real loss for our industry, having you walk away. So, I know why you're doing it. I applaud you for doing it. But we're going to miss the hell out of it, in the form that you created. So, everybody should go to Porch. You should go and read their GABF coverage, which is usually unparalleled. So, again, thanks for doing that. And Shikes, thanks for keeping print alive and doing everything that you guys are doing out there. Dustin, thanks, I guess. No, Dustin, thank you for everything that you're doing with keeping brewers making great beer. So
Craft maltsters, let's go.
Craft maltsters. Yes, small, flavorful malts.
The only thing about us as a craft maltster is me.
Okay.
I definitely bring the craft.
Oh, dad jokes. He's got them.
He knew we were gonna get punny.
I know. Yeah.
I will say
that's the other podcast. That's down the hall in Studio B with Don. Yeah.
I will say Porch Drinking is how I've survived GABF every year. And before this, just to get ready, like I pulled up Porch Drinking's coverage from last year and went through it. And Tristan and I have had the pleasure working together on some events and stuff over the years. And yeah, Porch Drinking is awesome because of Tristan and his team. So that'll be missed.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Gentlemen, thanks for doing this. Thanks for getting us all ready for Denver. And yeah, I'll see you all fairly soon.
Love you, buddy. Looking forward to having beers with you.
Yeah, appreciate it. See you soon.
If you're going to Denver, I hope you have tickets for the Pints for Prostate's Denver Rare Beer Tasting. We'll be there, and it's shaping up to be a memorable event. If you want to get in on the action, don't forget about their auction with a lot of cool items. Visit pintsforprostates.org for more details. If you're on social media, make sure you join the This Week in Rauk Beer group on Facebook or follow at TW Rauk Beer on Instagram. Upload your photos, join the conversation. And as always, you can reach me anytime on email at johnholl@allaboutbeer.com. That's JOHNHOLL. And you can support us by visiting allaboutbeer.com/support. When you're at the website, check out new content as well as the archives. You can also find the links to follow All About Beer on social media when you're there. Before we go, here's a note from this episode's sponsors, and we thank them for their support, and we hope you'll give them your business. StompStickers.com is loaded with features to make ordering a breeze. They save all your artwork and order history, so restocking your best sellers is just a click away. Oh, and did we mention free shipping on every order? Try Stomp Stickers today and snag 15% off of your first order with the code FIRSTRUN.
Calling all hopheads. Dogfish Head's 60-minute IPA is a fantastically hoppy India Pale Ale that's beautifully balanced thanks to their unique continual hopping method. Delivering a pungent hop flavor that isn't crushingly bitter, 60 Minute is continually hopped throughout the boil for a full 60 minutes. Starting to see where the name comes from? Check out dogfish.com to learn more and to find some 60 Minute near you. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
If you like smart audio content, a reminder that All About Beer has a separate podcast channel. Search and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. Steal This Beer has new episodes every Monday, and the BYO Nano podcast comes out on the 15th of every month. As for this show, Nate Schweber does the music, Jeff Quinn designed our logo, and I'm John Holl. New episodes release every Wednesday, and that's when I'll be back again to drink beer and to think beer.